Welcome to our deep dive into the June 2025 PlayStation State of Play. This showcase was packed with reveals, release dates, and gameplay updates. To start, what stood out as the defining features of this State of Play compared to previous years?
This event emphasized variety and legacy. Not only did we see new IPs and surprising sequels, but also a clear focus on nostalgia masters, classic franchises, and exclusive hardware updates. It's a blend of innovation and honoring gaming history.
Interesting. As we break down each announcement, let's keep an eye on how Sony balances innovation with fan expectations. Shall we start with one of the most anticipated platformers?
Absolutely. Astrobot's new content is a perfect example of how PlayStation is expanding beloved franchises while introducing new gameplay challenges.
The announcement of 5 challenging Vicious Void Galaxy levels for Astrobot brought excitement. What do these additions mean for both new and seasoned players?
Adding these levels extends Astrobot's longevity. The difficulty spike caters to expert players, but the introduction of special bots and clever level design keeps it accessible. Plus, the updated DualSense controller with a smiley Astro motif enhances the tactile experience, making gameplay even more immersive.
That's a good point. The synergy of hardware and software here reminds me of Nintendo's integration between games and controllers. Do you see this as a trend PlayStation will pursue further?
Definitely. Custom controllers like the limited edition DualSense create collector value and deepen franchise identity. It's a way to drive both hardware and software sales, much like Nintendo's Joy-Cons or Xbox's Elite controllers.
Moving to indie creativity, Baby Steps walking sim mechanics seemed both quirky and technically impressive. What sets this game apart from other traversal-based titles?
Baby Steps stands out because it simulates walking at a granular level. Each step is a physics puzzle. Unlike games where movement is automatic, here you manually control each limb. It's comedic but also a genuine innovation in how players interact with avatars.
Could this focus on awkward, realistic movement influence the design of future sim games?
Absolutely. It's reminiscent of Q-Up or Octodad, but with more depth. Developers are starting to see value in embracing imperfection, making movement itself a challenge and a source of humor. This could inspire a wave of games prioritizing tactile, skill-based traversal.
Let's talk about nostalgia. The reveal of Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles for PS5 and PS4 excited many. How does this remaster modernize a 1997 classic while retaining its essence?
The remaster adds fully voiced dialogue, a modern UI, and accessibility features like the Squire mode. Graphical improvements bring Ivalice's world to life, but the core grid-based tactics and branching storylines remain. This careful update respects fans while welcoming newcomers.
Do you think these quality-of-life enhancements will become standard for future remasters?
Given the success of remasters with modern convenience autosave, difficulty options, it's likely. Players want nostalgia without outdated frustrations. It's a smart move to keep these classics relevant and approachable.
Speaking of legacies, Metal Gear Solid Delta, Snake Eater, and Mortal Kombat Collection both made a splash. How do these projects approach remaking versus preserving their franchises?
Metal Gear Solid Delta is a ground-up remake, reimagining visuals and mechanics for modern audiences while keeping the original's tension. In contrast, Mortal Kombat Collection offers faithful ports, but contextualizes them with interactive documentaries, providing both gameplay and historical perspective.
So, we're seeing two philosophies: total reimagining and curated preservation. Which do you think resonates more with players?
Both have merit. Remakes like Delta can bring in new fans, while compilations like Collection satisfy purists and historians. The key is transparency. Players want to know what's changed and what's preserved.
This state of play also introduced new genres, such as the survival climber Cairn and oceanic RPG Sea of Remnants. How do these titles push the boundaries of traditional gameplay?
Cairn gamifies alpinism by simulating physical strain, resource management, and planning routes. Think of it as a narrative Mount Everest simulator. Sea of Remnants, on the other hand, combines open-world exploration with a living, evolving pirate city where player choices affect the world's development.
Interesting. Could these mechanics inspire new subgenres or influence larger franchises?
Absolutely. These experiments are often testbeds for new mechanics. We've seen elements from indie hits like Subnautica or Celeste migrate to AAA projects. It's a cycle of innovation feeding into mainstream design.
Fighting games received major attention with Marvel Tokon, Fighting Souls, and the Project Defiant Fight Stick. How does this showcase the genre's evolution?
Marvel Tokon blends accessible controls with deep combos, appealing to both newcomers and veterans. The Project Defiant wireless fight stick is a technological leap, offering low-latency wireless play-first for PlayStation peripherals. This makes high-level competition more accessible and convenient.
Do you see these innovations as lowering the entry barrier for fighting games, which are often seen as intimidating?
Precisely. By simplifying hardware setup and gameplay onboarding, these initiatives can demystify the genre. It's about turning fighting games into a welcoming space for everyone, not just arcade veterans.
Let's transition to narrative innovation. Tides of Tomorrow introduces asynchronous multiplayer, where your choices intertwine with a previous player's world. How does this reshape storytelling in games?
This approach creates emergent narrative estuaries shaped by the collective decisions of players, not just scripted events. It's almost like an interactive relay race, where each person's run leaves clues and consequences for the next.
Could this interconnected design lead to more replayable, unpredictable games?
Without a doubt. By making player decisions visible and meaningful, the game encourages creative problem-solving and social storytelling. We might see more games blending single and multiplayer elements in the future.
Virtual reality also had a strong showing, with Thief VR, Legacy of Shadow, and Ludens Arise's PSVR 2 support. How do these titles utilize VR's strengths?
Thief VR leverages motion controls to make stealth, tactile, physically extinguishing lights, or sneaking through shadows creates unprecedented immersion. Ludens Arise uses VR to amplify its synesthetic puzzle experience, blending music, visuals, and touch for a flow state that's hard to replicate in flat gaming.
Do you think these innovations will help VR gain broader mainstream traction?
If developers focus on unique VR native mechanics beyond simple portsias, the more VR feels essential to the gameplay, not just an add-on, the more likely it is to capture new audiences.
As we wrap up, let's spotlight PlayStation's ongoing commitment to new IPs and digital access. Demos for Neo 3 and Cairn, plus PlayStation Plus's expanding catalog, are clear signals. What does this mean for the platform's future?
Offering early demos lets players test new ideas risk-free, fostering feedback-driven development. Expanding PlayStation Plus with classics and new titles bridges generations, giving newcomers context while letting longtime fans revisit favorites. It's a holistic ecosystem that fosters discovery and loyalty.
That's a compelling vision. Any final thoughts on how 2025 State of Play sets the tone for the next phase of PlayStation gaming?
This showcase reaffirms PlayStation's dual commitment, pushing the envelope with new experiences while respecting its storied past. If they can keep this balance, the platform will remain a creative powerhouse in the industry.